Welcome to the debauchery. We have such sights to show you.
Here's Johnny!
All you have left is my desire for you.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
What's up, all my horror movie loving fuckers? Welcome back to another episode of Fright Flick FMK, where, as you all know, we like to watch horror movies, talk a little shit about them, and then we rate them on whether or not we'd rather fuck it, marry it, or kill it. And if you're new to the show, if you've just stumbled across us somehow, yeah, welcome to the shit show. If you've been here a while and you've hung out with us before, you all know how this thing rolls, people. You pull up a chair, get your favorite beverage, because I tell people all the time, this show goes better with alcohol. And so pull up your chair and we're going to sit here and we're going to talk a little shit about some horror movies. That's just how we do it here. But this week I am back with my co-host, the Gentleman Jack. I'm flying solo this week, and so y'all are stuck with me tonight. So, but I have the Gentleman Jack here, and last week's episode I did with Jamie, and we did the sacrifice game, and last week I had to run sober without none of the gentlemen, because if you listened, I had a colonoscopy. The day after we recorded the show, I had to go in and do that. So I was not able to partake in my delicious Gentleman Jack. I had to get on this show, and that just shows my dedication to you all, to the Fright Flick family. The hard things we have to do sometimes. And doing the show without this, hold on one second, family. Everybody grab your drink. Let's take us a little sip. Gentleman Jack break right out of the gate. But had to do it all, without that last week. And we had a good show, had a good time with Jamie. I was a little jealous. She was able to drink and I wasn't. But since we're all family here, and if you're new to this show, I talk to people like we're family, I'm an open book. So the day after we recorded last week, I had to go in for the colonoscopy. I reached that age to where they say, that shit's highly recommended, and it's going to sound weird, but I enjoyed it. The day prior is a cleansing day where they give you some fancy shit you mixed up, and I mixed it up with some Gatorade. I had me 100 ounces of Gatorade. That's how I did it. 100 ounces. I got a big ass thermos. It's like a gallon. So I mixed up 100 ounces of Gatorade, and then I poured in the cleansing stuff. And what you had to do is every 15 minutes, you had to drink 8 ounces of that. So I drink 8 ounces. I set me a timer on my phone. 15 minutes later, bam, I take down another 8 ounces. And you have to do that until you finish it. And so the whole day prior, just the cleansing, highly recommend it, man. I felt lovely after the cleansing, and highly recommend, though, if you're going to do something like that, you keep your ass at home. You don't want to be out and about. You don't want to be at work. You don't want to be anywhere. You want to have yourself positioned to where you can get yourself to a toilet quick and in a hurry. So the cleansing all day that day, got onto the show that night. Me and Jamie knocked out, did the sacrifice game. Next morning I get up, have to go in for the colonoscopy, and people ask me like, oh, how was it? Honestly, you don't remember shit, because you get in there, they get you ready to go. I go in there and he's like, hey, you got stripped down, butt naked, people. Only thing you got on is some of them little grippy socks, and kind of socks got little grips on the bottom of them. It's the only thing you got on, and a little gown. that little gown they give you where all your ass is hanging out the back. So I got my gown on, I got my little grippy socks on, laying in my little bed ready to go. And they come in there and get you and they roll you back there to where they're about to do this at. And they roll me into a room. And there was the doc, there was another lady in there, and then the dude that was going to give me the medicine that knocks you out. And because they kind of put you to sleep for this, thank God they put you to sleep because I couldn't be awake for that. You know, I couldn't imagine being awake. I don't know if they used to do it that way where you had to be awake. And but I'm glad they don't now because the doc would have had a struggle with me trying to get that little camera up my ass to go take some pictures of my colon. But rolled me up in there, man. It's like nice and comfortable. The room's nice and cool, you know, and they tell me like roll over on your side. Lady puts a pillow between your knees. They put this little, I don't know what it was, underneath my back, but I'm on my side, where I just kind of lean back against it. So it's a pretty comfortable position you're in right now. And the doc, the guy with the good medicine, he's like, "Hey, I'm about to start your medication." And he told me before going in there that when I put this in there, it pretty much knocks you out instantly. And he was not lying. I don't know if he finished the word medicine before I was out. And you know, bam, woke up. I'm laying back in my little area where I was at prior. Got me a nice little thing of apple juice and some honey graham crackers sitting on the table in front of me. You know, I hadn't ate in over 24 hours because you can't eat leading up to it. So, you know, everything went good, you know, and that's a good thing that they didn't find anything. They went up in there, did nothing. It was clean. And then they give me the paperwork when I leave and stapled to all this paper. She's like, there's some pictures on there. I'm like, pictures? She's like, pictures of your colon. And there it was in color. Pretty high definition type shit of while he's rooting around up in my colon area. He's like snapping little pictures and shit, which is insane to me. But there it was, right there on some paper, you know, pictures of inside of what the colon looks like. And the colon was clean. The colon was no things were found, so it was a win-win. So but yeah, highly recommend it. You know, definitely it's one of the things you need to get done. Um, I turned 48 this August. So I hit that age where it was time to get the old Coolio checked out. So but yeah, that's how that went down. And thus the reason last week I had to fly sober and without the help of my co-host. But tonight we are here, just me, myself, and the gentleman Jack. Hold on one second. Gentleman Jack break. Thank you. Now, this week's episode, as you know, people, I normally don't have a plan. It's usually whatever I come up with. And that's kind of how this week went also. But before I get you into the title of what we're going to be talking about this week, here at Fright Flick FMK, we are part of the Debauched Network. Welcome to the debauchery, as you see on my shirt right now. Welcome to the debauchery. The links are all in the info underneath the title. Scroll down, there's links to the websites and everything. The Debauched Network is a group of podcasters where we get together, we support each other, and we help each other out. And, you know, we got the Criminal AF, we got True Crime University, and we got a couple more on their way. But click on the link, go check them out. If you're into true crime, a lot of people, I love true crime podcast. And that's where I got down with, Criminal AF with David Garrett, Debbie with True Crime University. But yeah, definitely check those out. Highly recommend them. Like I said, they're true crime. They got a little David Garrett put a little spin to theirs, a little comedy, a little good time with them. You know, if they can't make you laugh when you listen to their show, then there's something fucking wrong with you. But yeah, go check out some of those other shows. The Debauched Network links are in down below. Scroll down, whatever you listen to, Apple, Spotify, links are there. Click on it, it'll take you there. Here on this show, we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X. I don't get to be on them a lot. I've this is not a full-time job for me, people. Believe it or not. Um, this shit show, we don't get paid to do this. So, I'm military. I've been military now for going on 19 years. Um, just the other day, I received my approval orders to retire. I am ready to retire. I had to send up my request, and everything has finally come back, stamped approved. Uncle Sam says I am good to go live the normal life again. So this time next year, I have basically less than a year, and I will be retired. I will be just me, myself, the family, and no more of the military life for me. So yeah, right now I got that going on. So I don't the social media stuff I don't get to spend a whole lot of time on. I basically get to jump on there and be like, hey, this is what's coming up this week or whatever. Pretty basic, generic. I'm not fancy. I'm old school. I'm a 70s baby. I'm not the influencer type when it comes to Instagram and all that shit. I'm just good enough where I could slap a picture up there and be like, hey, this is what I'm talking about this week. And so yeah, but stop by, give us a follow, a like, subscribe, leave comments, leave reviews. Apparently, it helps your numbers in this podcast world if the more reviews you get and shit like that. So swing by. I welcome all types of comments, criticism. I got thick skin, people. You're not hurting these fucking feelings. I just enjoy hearing from people. Um, just this week had someone hit me up through YouTube, and I wish I had it pulled up right now, and I don't, and I should have. But once again, people, I never have a plan, and I should have had it pulled up. But a gentleman had made a comment in there how he had heard about us through Criminal AF and how he started listening to the show, and mentioned that he was from Virginia, so he recognized this country ass accent that I have. And my dude, I apologize. I should have looked your name up and all that shit before I got on here. But like I said, I shoot from the hip, fly by the seat of my pants when it comes to this show. But he got in there, commented about how he's enjoying the show. And hey, you're part of the Fright Flick fucked up family. And there's people out there that just as fucked up as me. And I appreciate everybody who stops by and listens to this and listens to me talk about horror movies this way. But but yeah, like, subscribe, follow along, comment, anything. I welcome it all. Ask me any kind of questions you want to ask me. Recommend horror movies to me to watch, to get on here and talk about. Like I said, I never have a plan week to week. I don't know what I'm talking about next week. So you could literally stop by, drop a comment, be like, hey, have you ever watched this movie? Because he mentioned, the gentleman I was just talking about mentioned like a werewolf with a no Bigfoot type movie, I think. I'm going to check it out. And I may just jump on here and talk some shit about it because I don't have a plan, and I like it when people give me some ideas or recommend some shit. So, you know, jump in the comment section, leave us a review, ask me questions or whatever. Um, but yeah, that's gonna do it for some of the housekeeping shit. So we're about to jump into this movie this week, which I just decided like yesterday what I was going to talk about for this week's show. Um, and so I'm scrolling through because I enjoy I have Tubi, I have Shutter, and stuff like that. So a lot of times I'm just scrolling through and it's just like look for whatever's new coming out. And Shutter, which I love Shutter. If you do not have Shutter, I highly recommend getting Shutter. A lot of good stuff on there. So here I am on Shutter, scrolling through, looking for I chased the new releases, what just came out. And I came across this one. Tonight, we're gonna be talking about Late Night with the Devil. The title had me when I seen it. Late Night with the Devil. coming from a guy that grew up, real religious, in church all the time. I'm a big fan of the religious type movies, whether it be demon possession, any of that. So I'm a fan of it. I like it. Um, so when I seen the title had me like, and I don't do a lot of trailer watching. I feel sure this one has probably been. I remember seeing on Shudder that something was coming out about it, but I didn't watch a trailer on it at all. I just watched this movie today, earlier today, before coming on here to record. I decided I was going to sit down and watch it. I didn't check a trailer out or nothing, but the title itself, "Late Night with the Devil," just kind of caught my attention. And I seen it was new, just came out, and I'm like, you know what? That's what we're gonna fucking talk about tonight. Um, so a little description of this movie, and I get all this, people. If you've been around a while, I'm not smart. I don't come up with this shit off the hip. I get all this shit, IMDb, Wikipedia, whatever, wherever I come across it at. But that's where I get a little description, a little plot type shit. But Late Night with the Devil, 2023 supernatural horror film written and directed and edited. I struggle with that word, people. It's my country accent. Edited by Colin and Cameron Carnes. I think I said their last name right. I think they're Australian film directors. Because my good friend Lucy from the land down under, just on Facebook, prior to me hitting record to start this, tagged me in a post about a movie. And when I seen the movie, it was shit. I'm going to look it up, people. Y'all going to have to bear with me real quick. What's going to bother me? I got this problem where if when something happens, if I don't look it up and I got to think about it, it's going to bother me later. But let me see. Yeah, Scare Campaign. They also wrote and directed this movie Scare Campaign. And she had tagged me in the post. And I hit her up and I let her know, like, hey, holy shit, like the movie I'm talking about this week are the same ones that did that movie. So but yep, that's who they are. And it it basically comes across as a little bit of a found footage film, follows the events of a late night talk show episode aired on the night of Halloween 1977, during which the host attempts to boost the ratings by inviting an allegedly possessed girl onto the show. Hey, I told you, you can stream it on Shutter. Some of y'all probably have already seen it. If you haven't seen it, hey, go to Shutter. If you don't have Shutter, get Shutter. It's like fucking. I do it through AMC Plus. It's like a one-time pay, like for a whole year, like maybe $30 for the entire year. And with AMC Plus, you get all the other shit, the cool like Walking Dead, a lot of other stuff, and you also get Shutter. And so the movie's on like an hour and 30 minutes. It's right there in that sweet spot. People, you're not going to lose a lot of your time checking this one out. And I also like the fact that it takes place in the 70s. I'm a 70s baby, Gen X, born in 76. This one takes place in 77. But and and before I get into it, I do spoil a lot of stuff when I talk about these movies. I spoiler alert. I will spoil the shit out of one. So be prepared if you haven't seen it. If you don't want it spoiled, then pause me, go check it out, and then come back and listen to me talk a little shit about it. But this one, it is it's one of those movies that makes me think that this old saying, be careful what you ask for. And I remember growing up, my mom, strict parents, and grew up real religious. And I always remember hearing that saying, like, be careful what you ask for. And that's what this movie reminded me of especially when I got through it. I'm like, what you thought you wanted. And, everything has a price. And so with Late Night with the Devil, Such a cool title. Kudos for the title. Some of the one of the cast, the main cast in this, he plays Jack Delroy, and I'm going to mess up his last name. I'm terrible with pronouncing names. David Demalchian, Malchian. I'm terrible with names, and that's why I normally don't do the cast because I butcher the fuck out of their names, people. But he plays Jack Delroy. Laura Gordon plays Dr. June Ross. Ian Bliss, he plays Mr. Carmichael. Ingrid Torelli, she's gonna play her girl Lily when I get to that part. And there's some other names in this thing, but hey, you can go to IMDb, you can go to Wikipedia, Google it, you'll see the cast. But David, I wish I knew how to sound his name. And if I'd have did my homework right, people, should I have gotten online earlier and maybe did a little click on his name to know how to pronounce it right? Yeah, maybe I should have. But around here, I don't work like that. I don't work like that. I just fucking just send it. So, but David Destmalchian, who plays Jack, this dude is just fucking good in anything. He's got this look about him, and he fit this part for this movie. He fits it. And the dude is just so fucking good. And but yeah, he plays Jack Delroy. Jack is a talk show, kind of like a nighttime talk show host. You know, now we got, I don't really listen to talk show back in the day. I remember like David Letterman, Jay Leno, ones like that. Back in the day, Johnny Carson. And that's kind of like when this one takes place. He has his own nighttime like talk show and called Night Owls. And and I remember when I first started watching it, because when you start watching it, it's talking about giving a little backstory of him and the show, of how it came about, how what they're about there. And I in my notes I actually put on there like, Night Owls is like the Wish version of a Johnny Carson show. And that was before I realized that that's kind of what it's about. It's like he's like competing with a Johnny Carson show, because in TV they have the ratings and stuff like that, and of course Johnny Carson was fucking Johnny Carson, and it kind of took place like he was trying to compete and get the same numbers, and but it started like 6 or 7 years prior to where this movie's supposed to take place in like 1977. But and it gives you a little backstory leading up to it before it really kicks off. It gives you a backstory how Jack came about. It talks about Jack's wife, Natalie. Um, and then it talks about how Jack was part of this men's only group, which, back in those days, I could see some shit like that. The men's only, the good old boy group. Even nowadays, we got the fucking good old boy cliques, you know, I'm in the military. I see that shit. You got that good old boy clique, the ones that, that handful of people that, the buddy buddy system, that's the clique. And back then in those days, it definitely don't shock me. They had some like men's only group. Like, back I remember the movie, The Little Rascals, talk about the He-Man Woman Hater Club, and I could just imagine this bunch of fucking dudes. And that's basically what it's talking about. Like this group, they go out and they out in the woods on these little retreats or whatever. It's just a bunch of men only, and it shows all these little videos and shit of you know shit going on in the 70s, and and so you're seeing a lot of this stuff, and then it shows this crazy ass kind of like all men's group, the Grove is what they call it, and they're showing them out there, and it's kind of like spiritual type shit going on out there, and it's like some weird fucking shit, and it's kind of talk about it leading up, and then it gets to a part where it talks about like 1976. His wife Madeline is diagnosed with lung cancer. 1976, the year this guy was born, great year. Um, and he basically, leading up to it, he brings her onto the show, and ended up being at that time one of their highest rated episodes. He brings his wife on the show, and she's up there. You tell she's got the little little thing on her head. She lost her hair, really struggling. And she's talking about how they met. And then like a couple weeks later, Madeline passes away. Um, of course, Jack takes some time off. About a month later, he comes back to the show. Basically going to have to play, trying to play catch up to Johnny Carson. And you can tell like his producer, I don't remember who the fuck he was. I don't know if I have it in my notes or not. I can't remember. But him and his producer are trying to, you know, get more drama to trying to get the numbers up. And, when they're doing that, they're probably bringing any type of fucking crazy ass motherfucker onto the show just to try to get the numbers up, something to draw the attention. Back in the day, man, we had the fucking Jerry Springer show. That shit was fucking awesome. Um, but and then so it's kind of led you up to this point, and then it kind of lets you know it just kind of just gave you the backstory up till now. And it leads up to a point where it's like letting you know that they have found this footage of something that went down on Halloween, October 31st, 1977. It has been some unseen type video of something that had happened. So it's almost like a found footage type movie. And when I first kind of seen that in the description, or I had that found footage, I'm not a huge fan of found footage. Certain movies I really like. It's not my cup of tea. Some people like it. Hold on one second, family. Reach over, grab that beverage sitting next to you. Have that gentleman Jack break. Thank you. And so I'm not a huge fan. So when I seen that, I was kind of like, ah. And but the good thing about it, when normally when you hear found footage, you have that one fucking video camera that's just fucking clicking and clacking all over the place. And I don't know if it's just it has to be, maybe it's just me. On found footage videos, there's certain sounds that annoy me to a different level. And if you've watched found footage type stuff in that it's like this little clickety clackety sound that the camera's making while they're moving. That sound is like nails on a chalkboard to me. It drives me nuts. And you'll hear it. I don't know how to describe it, but any found footage you hear when that camera's moving around, it's just this sound. I fucking hate it. And but yeah, this one's not like that. It's not like, you're not gonna find some raunchy little camera somewhere, but it's basically it is a talk show. Jack is they're trying to get the numbers up. It is, I think they call it sweeps week in TV with the ratings thing and all this stuff. And so they're having a special show. They have a special show lined up for Halloween night. And, you know, all for it, man. Have the trying to the creepy type shit. It's the fall, best time of the year, people. Best time, fall of the year, Halloween, stuff like that. You know, this is a guy that hates summertime. Like I hate it. I hate the warm weather. I hate the the long days where it gets dark at fucking 9 o'clock at night. I hate it. I love the fall of the year and the cold months. And so October, November, best time of the year. So, here we are. He's trying to get the numbers up. He's about to have him a big show lined up, a special Halloween night. And on this show, he has some special guests lined up. He is going to have him it's like a medium, like one of the people that can, like a psychic type. I think his name is like Chris Tao, however you say it. I don't know. Like I said, country ass accent, terrible with pronouncing names. Um, that's one of his first guests. Uh, and this is back in like in the 70s, of course, where I get, back then it was big on like the occults and the sacrificing type shit and all that stuff was like really big back then. And so this guy, Chris Dew, and so he was coming on there and he was going to be the first guest and he's going to try to like do his thing where he can like summon up some spirits. You've all seen that shit, man, where like, oh, I feel something in the room and blah blah blah. And I'm hearing I'm seeing this name or this letter of this name and just trying to like milk this shit out. And so it was funny because when he comes out there and I'm just like, because for me, people, I am not a believer in that type of shit. That's just me. I know people out there that believe in it, and that's fine. We all have our own things. I'm just not one of those that buy into the medium type can speak to the dead type shit. So when our dude Cristal gets out there, this motherfucker's struggling. Like, cause he starts naming off, and it was like some funny parts going on in it, because he's asking some questions. The shit just wasn't lining up. And so then he's going to have this part where it's like, oh shit, maybe it's real. Um, because he's going to come across a couple people in the audience and he's asking them some questions and it starts really looking legit. Like, oh shit, this motherfucker must really know some shit. Um, and then they bring out there's going to be another guest that comes on to this show. Mr. Carmichael is Mr. Carmichael. And Mr. Carmichael is basically the guy that's going to come on, and his job and what he does is he goes in and kind of like debunks the whole thing, where he says this is bullshit, this is fake, and he tries to prove like whatever you're saying, whatever you're doing is fake, and that's kind of his thing now. And so, of course, when he has to come out there and he's going to deal with fucking, Chris 2 about his bullshit, Um, and I will say this, family, when I'm watching this, it does start off slow. Well, to me, it started off slow. Um, I remember putting in my notes actually, I was like, this kind of reminds me of why I dislike like the late night TV shows. I'm not a fan of them. I was never a big fan of like back in the I grew up with David Letterman, Jay Leno, and I don't even know who does them now because I don't follow them. Just not a fan. And I remember putting in there I'm reminded of how much I dislike talk shows because at this point of this thing, it's like you're literally watching the show because what it's doing is it's showing you this episode of what happened in October of 1977 of what went down. And so you're watching kind of like the whole show. And as I'm watching, I'm like, fuck, man, this is why I don't watch this type of shit. And I was kind of almost bored with it. It just wasn't getting my attention. Um, but and then they did do this part when Mr. Carmichael comes out. He comes out and he's like going to do this trick. He asked Jack, like, do you care if I smoke on the show? And he started doing this little magic trick with like this cigar. And then it made me think back to like, the good old days. I call them the good old days, back when you could pretty much smoke anywhere you fucking wanted to. And I know there's people out there like, oh, smoking's bad. Whatever, people. I smoke, I vape. Hey, to each is their own, you know. You do you, I do me. And I remember those days back in the days where you could literally go into a fucking McDonald's, order you a fucking Big Mac, and go sit at the table with that little bitty golden looking ashtray with a McDonald's symbol on it and smoke you a cigarette while your kiddos went outside and played on the little fucking fancy playground shit out front. You know, the good old days. And so it was funny to me when he was like, you care if I smoke? And he's got the cigar, and I do love a cigar when I get the chance. But and so while they're filming this show, it's going to give you like the parts with the characters, and then when they go to commercial break, it gives you some like kind of like what's going on videotaping them talking like behind the scenes during breaks. And so, of course, Mr. Carmichael and fucking Chris 2 is going to butt heads because he's calling bullshit on all the bullshit that damn Chris 2 got out there trying to be like, how he like, oh, there's this name popping in my head and blah, blah, blah. And they kind of go back and forth. Well, you'll see while this is going on that Chris 2 got some serious shit going on with him. Because there's a part in all this where it's so you can tell there's something there. And Mr. Carmichael ain't buying it. He just thinks that everything's a fucking show. He ain't stupid. It's a fucking talk show. People, he knows that there's people that are just trying to get the numbers up. And as this movie will go on, you will realize that Jack and his TV producer are all about the numbers. They're all about getting the numbers up because they want to be the next big thing. They want to be the next fucking Johnny Carson. And so, and you can tell there's something lined up. Like he has something planned for this show. And you hear him kind of talk about it as it goes. And one of the guests that they're going to have on is they also going to have a Dr. Mitchell, Dr. June, we'll call her June. And this is after like some shit goes down. I'm telling you, people, when Mr. Carmichael and Chris 2, some shit goes down, a little bit of arguing back and forth. Chris 2, he starts kind of like losing it. Like, and you're thinking like this dude's really trying to sell this shit. Like he's really trying to sell it. Like he's got some spirit or something talking to him, making him do this shit. Because this dude literally loses it on stage of the whole like pukes up all this fucking black shit and they have to escort him to the back, basically telling him how we're going to get him some help, get him to the doctor, whatever. Well, then the show must go on, people. Jack and them, they're worried about the numbers. Give a fuck about Chris 2. Chris 2, he's done his part. He's out. Now we're bringing in the next guest. Next guest is Dr. June. Dr. June. They play a video. She had wrote a book called A Conversation. Oh, hit the microphone, people, my bad. A Conversation with the Devil. And he's bringing her out there to come on the show, talk about it. Well, then it shows a video. They show this video of what she's researching and looking into. She comes across this cult, this type of weird, fucked up cult. And they're worshiping something called Abraxas. And they're big into like the child sacrifice type thing. And apparently, during this video, you see it that apparently like the FBI and CIA and all of them have like locked down on this fucked up cult and they're about to like try to shut them down. Well, when they're doing this, they basically come out and say that the dude who was over the cult basically convinces everybody in his cult to pour gasoline on everything and set themselves on fire. And on this little video, you're seeing it. Like they're setting themselves on fire. And they're talking about this one girl that they found that they pulled out of there and she survived. Now, at this part, I'm thinking to myself, it makes you go back because if you've heard about it through the years, there's always been these cults, these religious things to where one person can get up there and make you drink the Kool-Aid. And you know what I'm talking about, people. That can convince people to like do these things. And it's just crazy to me when I hear about stuff like that or watch it, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what I don't know. I wish I could spend a minute in those people's heads to be like, what part of whatever he's saying, when he looks at me and this dude were to tell me, hey, grab that can of gasoline right there. We're going to pour that shit out and let's light a match. We're going to burn ourselves up. I don't know about anybody else, but my what the fuck flag would have come up about that time because no guy, like, but he gets everybody, this cult leader or whoever, gets them to all be like, hey, closing in on us. Let's just pour fuel everywhere, light ourselves on fire. I don't understand people who get into shit like that. I don't understand it. I don't understand the ones that, back in the day when, old dude made everybody drink the Kool-Aid. I can't remember his fucking name, but who get so caught up in that religious thing. But then there's a part of me though that now that I think about it, sometimes it's just not all that super bad stuff that, you know, like the dude made everybody drink the Kool-Aid, kill themselves. Like this dude in the movie set everything on fire. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm sitting here with you and I'm talking about it. Like I said, I grew up in church. I grew up real religious. We went to church 3 times a week, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. And it's almost, there's a part of it that's the same because I went to growing up in a church to where they were like, uh, women should not have short hair. Men should not have long hair. Uh, Women should not wear pants. You should only listen to this type of music. And then so now I'm talking about it, I'm like, holy shit, man. They were doing the same shit back then. If you think about it, like when I was going to church back in my younger days, when somebody would stand up there and tell you, like, you are wrong and you cannot, if you're a lady, let your hair be short. Um, and I remember being like, on Sundays was a day of rest. You couldn't go out to eat. You were wrong if you went out to eat on a Sunday. If you spent money on Sundays, you were wrong. Like, if you need gas in your fucking car, you better get it on Saturday. Um, and so thinking about it, holy shit, like even back then, it was like people stood up there and they told you, and people would buy into it. People would just, what that dude said was it. Like this dude told you, like you should only listen to this type of music and you should not listen to this type of music. And you, without question, just went along with it. And that's crazy because here I was, and when I'm watching, I'm like, man, look at these fucking idiots. This dude gonna tell them to set themselves on fire and they're gonna fucking do it. But then I think back, growing up, where I went to church and the way they did it, it was like that, man. They told you, you know, don't listen to this type of music. Don't do this. Don't do that. And everybody did it because one guy stood up there and said, you shouldn't do that. And people just went with it. Nobody would question it. Nobody said, hey, uh, why can't uh a guy have a beard? Why can't I go to eat on the Sunday afternoon? Why can't nobody ask these questions? And it's like in the same way, nobody looked at old dude when he said, grab the cans of fuel and we're gonna light ourselves on fire. Somebody should have said, but no, they didn't. They just went with it. They were so wrapped up and so believed in what this dude told them. I got so off track right there, family. My bad. I got so off track. Hold on, let me take a gentleman jack break. One quick second. So back to the movie. But so they're showing this video. This cult goes down, dude burns himself up. They find this girl inside, the fire bring her out. So come to find out, I thought when they were in this part of the movie, they were just going to have this Dr. June on the show. And then Jack's going to come out. He's just like, and he makes it announcement like, hey, we're about to have Dr. June and the girl, because apparently in these little video clips are showing, like apparently they were saying this girl is possessed. Whatever this damn cult shit had going on, this girl was possessed. The little girl's name is Lily. And so on this show, Halloween special, Night Owls, we're going to bring on Dr. June and we're going to bring on somebody that they're saying is possessed by some type of demon. Um, Not sure how it worked back in those days, people. I've seen a lot of movies where it's like demon possession type shit. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, are you gonna roll her out there strapped to a fucking chair or bed or something? A lot of us have seen The Exorcist. We know how this shit goes down. And so they bring her out. Dr. June Lily comes out. She ain't constrained or nothing. No type of anything. Just comes walking out. And the first thing I thought when she came out was like it was almost like a, the movie Megan. She just had this look of like this brown haired, real life looking Megan doll is what she looked like, 13 years old. And Jack's asking her some questions, getting to know her, and Lily comes off fucking kind of creepy right out of the gate. She's like looking at the camera with this like this staring at it type thing with this like, and you can tell a part of her was almost like liking this fact that she's out there. And so now we got Dr. June and Lily. And then we also got Carmichael out there because Carmichael's the guy that basically writes a check. He will pay if somebody can prove him wrong. Like somebody may come out there and be like, I do this. Well, he comes out there and says, no, you didn't, and I can prove it. And he basically says, if I can't prove it, I'll write you this check. He's had checks he shows for like $100,000. But for this one, he basically threatens, I'll write a check for $500,000. And in the 70s, people, that was a nice little chunk of change back in the 70s. And so now we got Dr. June saying Lily is possessed. And he starts asking her about it. And she has named her little demon that whatever is inside of her, she's given it a name. She calls it Mr. Wiggles. And she makes a comment like he kind of like wiggles in my brain and into her mind sometime. And some shit starts going down on this show, on like the little set. And you're almost thinking like, okay, this is just part of, because as it's going, you're thinking this is all part of a show because you keep hearing Jack and his producer talking about the numbers, and you'll see Jack talking to Dr. June, and apparently Jack and June are a thing. They're an item. Um, and all that will kind of unfold a little more. Um, and the part that really gets me where I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking, Jack? Is where he basically he asks Lily if it's okay to invite Mr. Wiggles onto the show. So their little spin of what him and his producer had wanting to work up for this thing is they wanted to say, hey, Dr. June, we want you and Lily to sit down. We want you to summon this demon or whatever that's inside of her to be on this show. And that's this thing that they want to show. And once again, all about the numbers. And up to this point in this movie, I am still it's getting my attention a little more, but I'm still kind of like, oh, such a slow burn. It's just taking, you know, um, but it gets to this point here, and this is where it starts amping up a little bit. It starts getting you kind of like you start trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, what's real, what's not real, you know. So and this part where you really start seeing Jack and like the producer really fucking selfish, really just all about the numbers. They don't give a fuck about anybody else. They're just worried about the numbers. They're all about beating fucking Johnny. And their plan is to basically gonna have Dr. June sit down with Lily and summon up Mr. Wiggles. They bring some chairs out, some restraints. They're going to, once again, now we're finally going to restrain the fucking possessed one. Now you put Lily in the chair, you slap some restraints on her wrist and shit like that. And then you're going to have Dr. June try to summon up Mr. Wiggles. And she does. You will get to see this this chat because it's one of my little creepy things when it comes to like possession type movies, anything like that, where they make these little movements and you hear the bones cracking, and that just oh that fucking creeps me out. And so you will see Lily sitting in the chair when Dr. June's asking her to like, hey, can can we talk to Mr. Wriggles, however you say it. Um, and you start seeing her, she's like moving around the chairs, the neck cracking type shit. And so when she finally looks up, you'll see like it shows you like this is not the same sweet little Miss Innocent Lily that rolled out onto the set earlier. You know, the face looks different and everything. Like the normal, like when you see like possession type movies, the face like they just look like something's injured or something. They just you can tell something's off. She's got this real deep type voice, and it's just weird. And at some point you see there's gonna be some little levitation where the chair floats up in the air, slams back on the ground, and it all comes down, and then bam, Lily wakes up from this whole thing and don't really know what all fucking happened. Um, it's and then you're gonna have Mr. fucking McCorn. What the fuck was his name now? I just forgot it. Carmichael is going to basically be like, okay, here's the reasons why I call bullshit on this. And at this point in the movie, it's really amping up. It has my attention now. I am no longer sitting there kind of like, okay, kind of boring, kind of slow burn. Now it's amped up because now we got Carmichael come out there and he grabs the little partner on the show. His name is Gus. To basically come out there and he's like, I'm going to show you how they did this. And it's all going to be, he's basically going to he's trying to say that like it was all hypnotized. Like that's doctor come out there and she hypnotized everybody and made you see what you wanted to see. And he's going to, and his goal is to show you this. And this was such a good part of the movie because it really has you going, holy shit. And then it's like when it goes back and it shows you everything of how Mr. Carmichael is trying to debunk and show you how this shit did not happen. And it was so fucking cool. And there's one part of this thing where I really liked. After all this shit goes down, there's a part of you that really starts disliking Jack because he's all about the fucking numbers, man. He goes over and he's talking to his little producer type part, and I don't know. I started really disliking him. And while this possession thing's going down, and you got Lily out there being possessed, and she starts like looking over at Jack, like it's like Lily knows Jack. And this for Jack's like the first time he met this old girl. But little girl Lily is talking to Jack and knows Jack, like something's up. And I remember she made this one line while she's doing it. And it was like the night, I forget how it worded, like the night Jack interviewed the cock fucking devil. And it was just like I think this was after it all happened because he was making a comment during the break. Like this is how they were. He was so worked up, but like, you know, these is going to be the numbers that get us to the top. This is going to put us above Johnny. This is going to be my next step. And he's just all about himself, all about the next step. And it's all going to start coming to front to what has went on. Um, and the ending is such a twist to it that I'm not even going to try to explain it on here, people. It is because it's just one of those. No matter how much I can talk about it, you gotta watch it, and you gotta to get this ending and the twist to it. Because here's the thing about that, I really enjoy a movie that will give you the option to it could be a different people will take it different ways. Some people may watch this and think, "Oh, this is what happened," or somebody else. Like you can put your own spin to it. You can put your own twist to it. That's what this one does. It has you thinking one thing for a while, and then the next you're thinking something else, and then you're thinking something else, and then when the fucking ending comes, you don't know what the fuck you're thinking. And that's the way I was for this one. Um, it for me, there's a couple of things toward the end. I like the ending. I like how it kind of come together, but a couple of things that were just kind of cheesy to me. That's just me. Um, I've spoiled a lot of it up till now, but I want to kind of wind it down, and I don't want to spoil the ending because the ending is just one of those endings that you can people are going to see it differently. People are going to think of like, oh, I think it was this or I think it was that, and that's one of the cool things about this movie is that I may think of one thing and it may be for me, but oh, this is what happened. I think it was this, but for me, this one goes back to that, the devil went down to Georgia looking for a soul to steal. Jack, in my opinion, in this movie, made a deal with the devil because he was so fucking hell bent on being number one. He wanted to be top dog, and Jack was willing to do whatever to be that guy. Um, Not knowing what it was going to cost him in the end, not knowing that, you know, so for me, I took this movie as Jack is going to sell his soul to the devil because he wants to be the number one talk show. He wants to beat out Johnny. Everything comes with a price, people. Shit ain't going to be free. And so you will see what it's going to cost him. And then when you see what it cost him, it made me dislike Jack even more. So I grew to dislike Jack toward the end of this thing. And it was, it's one of those, and here's the way I normally rate them. We rate the movies here. We fuck it, marry it, or kill it. Marrying it being the best, of course. It's that movie. That's your go-to, baby. You can watch it every day. Then you're gonna have your friends with benefits movie. That's your fuck. And then the kill. You never want to see it again. And here's why for this movie, I'll go and get my rating out of the way. I can't kill it because it's got to be a fuck. It's got to be a friends with benefits because this is the type of movie I've got to watch it again. Like I've watched it today and I kind of got whatever, I've been on here talking shit about, but I have to see it again because I, there's movies where you've watched them and you go back and there's so many other things you pick up and be like, holy shit, I didn't realize it. But then you go back and you see it and you pay attention to it differently. And so that's what Late Night with the Devil does. It gets you to the ending, and then it's like you don't like what? And then you're like, okay, now I need to check it out again. And I'm going to have to watch this one again because there's more to it. There's more different ways to watch it. And the thinking I had when I'm watching it, like, oh, this is the reason he did this and this and this. But now when I get to the end of it and I've watched it and I know how it ends, now I want to go back and see if I can pick up something else. I don't know. It's just can't explain it, but I got to watch it again. And that's why I got to fuck it. That's why it's got to be a friends with benefits. I got to call it up and try to see whether something I missed or what I missed or something. But this one, it it does have it get through for me. I had to get through the first almost half of it because I was kind of slow going in the beginning. In the beginning, I was ready to kill it because I was just like, man, this is just like watching a talk show, and especially what it is. Of course, it's like a found footage of a night of a talk show where a lot of shit went down, and I caught myself almost being bored with it. But stick with it. It gets you to a point to where everything starts amping up and you start trying to figure out like what the fuck's going on. Is this fake? Is this real? Is this not real? And you don't know what to think. And for me, when the fucking credits rolled, when it was all said and done, I still didn't know what the fuck to think. And damn it, I liked that about it. I liked it that it did not give me this clear cut ending of where I'm like, okay, that happened, that's why it happened, bam, ending, got it. And there's movies like that, and that's fine. This one was not one of those. This one was over. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck happened? And now I have to go back and watch it again. So kudos to Late Night with the Devil because I have to watch it again. I have to try to figure out what the hell happened. What did I miss through everything else that may have, maybe did I miss something? There was something I overlooked, I didn't pay attention to. Now I got to watch it again. And I get to maybe have a different spin on the ending or a different opinion or something. And that's one of the good things about movies like these. I like movies like these. So I can't marry it. And I sure as fuck can't kill it because I already know I gotta watch it again. So definitely check this thing out if you have not seen it. Um, be prepared to. I just don't know how anybody could watch this one and not want to have to say, I need to watch it again to try to put some more pieces together and try to see what you missed or overlooked. And but yeah, this was it slow burn in the beginning, had me turned off. And then it got my attention and it kind of reeled me in and had me really into it. So it's definitely a go check it out. Um, here on this show, I never tell people do not watch a movie, don't watch it. I don't care how bad it fucking is or how much I hate it. When it comes to horror movies, I tell everybody to watch everything. Um, so yeah, go check this one out. Definitely on Shutter. It was it was fun. I like the. I'm a '70s baby. I enjoy the movies that take place and or filmed back then in those times. Um, Great cast. Everybody was so fucking good. There was nobody in this movie that I disliked. Of course, you get to the point I dislike Jack a little bit just because he's all about his fucking numbers. But as far as like just everybody did so good, it was just everybody. Um, Nothing I could pick out about it. It was just a great cast. It was a different spin on, of course, found footage. Um, when I seen, a possession type thing, I've seen a lot of possession movies, but this one was just something, it was different. And it gives you this ending that where it's all said and done, you're still sitting there going, I was anyway. Maybe I'm just not the smartest, and I know I'm not the smartest cookie in the jar. But I'm just sitting there when it ended going like, what? What? And I'm going to watch it again, people. So go check this one out. Late Night with the Devil. You can check it out on Shutter. Um, Stop by. I'm curious what other people's opinions are on it or how you've seen it or what your opinions are on the movie overall. I want to hear about it. Um, but yeah, I appreciate you all hanging out with me, listening to me talk about this movie. Um, I don't know what next week's show is going to be. If somebody wants to swing by and drop some suggestions in to the comment sections or email, frightflickfmk at gmail. Um, I'm open for them. There's a couple that I've thought about, but there's nothing set in stone. So anybody got any ideas or some shit you want me to watch and talk about, let me know. But I appreciate y'all hanging out. Appreciate y'all listening. Go check us out. Like I said, social media. Go check us out. The Debauch Network. Check out all the rest of the family. Criminal AF, True Crime University. So stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a review, 5 stars, 1 star if you want to. Just let me know why it's a 1 star if you do. But I think that's going to kind of wrap it up for this episode. Go check out Late Night with the Devil. Let us know what you think. I already know I'm watching it again, probably this weekend. Kind of figure out, you know, I'm not the smart one. I may need me 2 or 3 times trying to piece this bad boy together like a fucked up puzzle, but maybe we'll get it. But hey, I like a movie that lets me kind of fill in the blanks on my own. And this one definitely did it for me. So I think that's going to do it, family. We've reached this part of the episode, and if you're new to the show, this is your first time. This is how we do this. If you've been here more than once, you know the deal, people. This is that part of the episode. I need everybody to reach over and grab your drinks. Everybody take you one more sip before we go. Gentlemen, Jack break. Everybody grab your drinks. Gather up your shit. Go put your chairs away and get the fuck out of here.